Everyone. Today I'm going to be talking about building a HEEX component library. Who am I? So I'm Matt. I've been developing web applications for the last 12 years. So I started off in Ruby on Rails and moved into React and the JavaScript ecosystem, and then finally have settled on Elixir. So I'm building two main projects at the moment. First one is pedal.build. And this is a framework or a collection of tools to help you build Phoenix web applications. The goal is to be the most productive framework out there. I basically want people to be able to go from idea to web app as soon as possible. It's made up of three main bits. So we've got pedal components, which we'll be learning about today. And we've got Pedal Pro, which is a batteries included Phoenix boilerplate. It includes stuff like 2FA, responsive layouts, passwordless authentication. And then we're currently working on a marketplace where ideally people will be sharing different components. You'll be able to just search for anything you need and quickly copy it into your project. So the other project I've been working on is crisisheroes.com. So I created a platform where you can ask for help or go and help other people in your area. And yeah, it's going pretty well. We've got over 20,000 people registered, mostly in Australia. The goal of this talk is to provide some clarity on like component versus live component, the different ways JavaScript can be mixed in components, and how to combine all of these concepts to make a HEEX library for your project. So let's start with the basics with a component. So first of all, it's dead in that it just spits out HTML. It's not connected to any live view. It just renders in the browser and that's it. So for example, here we have a heading component and it's just a function and returns this sigil. And here we got, H1, and render slot just means render whatever you pass inside the element. So here we got heading, and that will go in that render slot in a block bit. And yeah, that's the basic component. Here we've added in a class. So imagine you want to be able to allow your users to pass in a class. So we use @ symbol, which means like an assigns attribute. And that comes from this assigns. But we find here our first problem in that it says class not found in blah, blah, blah. And that's because you can't just reference a class like this, because then if someone doesn't pass in the attribute class, it's going to fail. So we can get around that with assign new. So that takes the assigns as an argument and allows you to sort of set a default. So if class isn't passed in, we just assign it to nil. So now here it'll be like nil instead of undefined. So that means that this will still work, and you can also optionally pass in a class if you want to. Next, we have live components. A live component is alive, so it only works inside live views. And by live, I mean it'll create a WebSocket connection to the server, and they're sort of in sync. So when you change the assigns, there'll be a message will sent down the WebSocket, and the view in the browser will change with the new HTML. So a live component has state, and that's in the socket.assigns, and has messaging, which is what I just described. So the first thing you'll notice with a live component is that it takes up a whole module. So the component we talked about in the past was just one function. So you could have, unlimited components in a module, but this one you only have one. So you say use Phoenix Live component, and then you have a render function. And this is the exact same as the one previously. So you get the H1 render slot in a block, but the way you call it in your view is different. So now you say live component and you pass the module. So the whole module as the argument, and you have to give it an ID. With live components, you get access to some lifecycle actions, and one of them is the update action. And this is similar to the mount function in a live view where you want to initialize your state. It's not quite the same because it's updates it every time it updates, it'll run this. But basically, all the assigns come in here, and it's your job to sort of reassign them and modify it if need be, or add new things if you like. So here I'm kind of doing the same as before, where I'm creating like a default. But I'm using map.putNew. So basically, if the class key is not inside assigns before, then we want to set it to text3xl, and then that's sort of set a default for it. So this won't crash. Let's have a look at messaging. So let's say you want to add a click handler on it. So you do the Phoenix-click, and then that'll run an event called clicked. And here we can handle the event. So handle event clicked, and I just assign the class to be pink. But this creates a error in that it says your app web page live handle event is undefined or private. And the reason this fails is because usually, you have a live component inside a live view. And what we expect is that when you click the button, it will try and find the handle event function inside the live component. But that fails because what actually happens is it looks in the live view itself. And obviously we haven't defined that handle event clicked in the live view. So to fix that, you need to add this phx-target myself. And that just means it'll now look at itself for the handle event function. So now when you see down here a little screenshot, you got header, and if you click that, then, well, it gets smaller because the text3xl disappears and it's replaced with text pink 500. So you kind of have this concept of dead routes and live routes. So a dead route is usually like you hit your controller, page view, and then a HEEX file. And it kind of looks like this, in a way. So the gray you can think of as dead stuff. So the whole thing is dead, and then you got these sort of dead components, which are just normal functional components. But you can, this orange thing over here is actually a live view. So you can embed a live view within a dead HEEX file. And inside there, you can have a live component because that'll be in the same process as the live view. And you can have then dead components within the live component, if that makes sense. A live route, in the router, you specify with the live function or macro, and then you just refer to a live view and another HEEX file. So here the whole thing is live, so you can nest live components within it, or you can have just normal dead components as well. So where does JavaScript fit in? So you got plain old script tags, which can only really work inside a dead view. For example, so here we have the same heading component as before when we first started the talk, but all I've done is added a script tag here, and I select the H1 with query selector, add an event listener for click, and so when you click it, it will toggle text pink 500 on that H1. So then I just call it as usual, heading with some text in it, and click it, boom, it works. But this doesn't work as well in a live view. So say, let's have a look at this live view here. So we've got page live. It's a live view. We've got a normal mount, but in the mount, we're assigning this assigns called loading to false. And so in here, we've got the heading as per normal, but we've also got this if loading, show the loading text, else show a button called, change state, which has a click event. And then, when you click that, it'll handle the event here and set loading to true. So then this loading will show. And the reason I did this is because it's a live view. And when the state changes in a live view, then the render function gets run again. And then the resulting HTML will get sent down the WebSocket and sort of override whatever's in the client at that time. And this is where JavaScript can get, a bit frustrating if you don't know what's going on, because if you look here, if you remember here, the clicking works fine. You click the heading and it goes pink. That still works in the live view. But when you then click this, live view click event, change state, and then the assigns change, sorry, this one here gets set to true. So then in the server, it'll rerun the render, send down the changes in HTML, and the pink disappears. Right. So you can't really mix JavaScript right into your views like that, because as soon as you change the assigns, then things start to go wrong. So let's have a look at how to get around that. And there's this newish kind of part of LiveView called liveview.js. And it sort of allows you to do basic JavaScript, but it's abstracted away and you actually sort of do it in Elixir. So here we're aliasing Phoenix liveview.js. We've got the same heading dead component again, back to a functional component. And we go Phoenix click js.add class text pink 500. So this is essentially doing what my script tag did before, but just it's like in Elixir code. So now we've got the same thing. We've got the heading, you click it, it turns pink, and then you click change state. So the server will then change the assigns and send down the new HTML, and the heading stays pink. So it's like the server is aware that we've done some JavaScript magic and it doesn't overwrite the whole thing. The cool thing about this is you can also chain different sort of JavaScript things together. So here I add the class text pink 500, and then I also push the change state event. So now we're sort of killing two birds with one stone here, because before you had to click the change state button to handle this event. But now, because it's doing both, if I change the text to pink, and then it'll call this server event, which sets the loading to true. So now clicking that, it'll do both things at once. I've sort of skipped this step here. So it's quite powerful. So it allows you to kind of you can almost do like optimistic updates, so you can instantly change, like the text will instantly go pink, but then there'll be a slight delay because the change state event will be pushed up to the server, then it'll do its thing, assign loading to true, rerun the render function, send down the result. So if this was done in, like if you slowed down time, the heading would go pink like super fast, and then a bit later down the track, suddenly this change state will convert into loading. And so there's some other JS functions you can chain on. So add class, toggle class, set attribute, push, which is what we've done here. And then dispatch is another good one. It basically allows you to dispatch any kind of JavaScript event and handle it with more complex JavaScript. And there's more too. This is just a subset of the most sort of highly used ones. The other way you can use JavaScript is with hooks. And hooks basically allow you to hook into different parts of the life cycle of the DOM. So Phoenix Live View will be manipulating the DOM and have these different events within it. So you got mounted was when the element is added to the DOM, before update, updated when it's destroyed, disconnected, reconnected. So you define your hooks in your JavaScript, not in your components. So that's one sort of big difference. So in your app.js, you initialize your live socket and you pass in, this is where you pass in your hooks. So here's one I've called turn pink. So sticking to the same theme. So I'm getting into the mounted hook. So when this is like essentially the same as that script I wrote earlier. So add an event listener, but I'm adding it to this .l. So this .l is the element that you're adding the hook to. So whatever element I've added to will get this event listener. And when you click it, it'll toggle text pink. So here I'm adding the hook into my heading component. I have to give an ID because every hook needs an ID. And then it's just phx-hook and the name that turned pink, which is the same name as this key in the JavaScript object. And now we sort of get the same problem we had with the script tag. So you click heading, it turns pink, but then you change the state of the live view and it's lost it. It's forgotten that we've changed it to pink. So it's not really tracking it like a liveview.js does. So what if we want our hook to work in dead views? This is going off the beaten track a bit. So this is my own sort of invention. I don't know if anyone will ever use it, but I thought, because sometimes I want to use hooks in my dead views, right? So say I have maybe your landing page is a dead view because you don't want that to be live and you don't want every visitor to your site to connect up a WebSocket connection. But then all your hooks are now unusable because it's a dead view. So I thought I made this functionality where you can go dead view compatible true. And then in your app.js, I've just added this function. So when the document's ready, here I just check that if it's a live view or not. So you can sort of ignore that. It's basically saying if live view is activated, if live view is disactivated, so if we're in a dead view, then I find every Phoenix hook, map over it, and then I just run, where is it? I basically run the mounted function. So this will only work for sort of simple hooks, because some hooks, it's not just mounted, there's also updated, there's other parts of the life cycle. So this is just for simple hooks. For something like a tooltip or a library, or something which only runs in the mounted function. So I'm going to give an example of tooltips. So here's the hooks section. Tippy is the name of my hook. It's dead view compatible because it's only going to run the mounted function, and inside that I just run the Tippy function, which will create tooltips. And Tippy is loaded in it via a CDN. I just haven't shown it here. And then, so here we have H1, we go Phoenix hook Tippy. Data Tippy content is just for the Tippy, just takes that and uses that as the tooltip. And I just render it as per normal. I've given it the class of inline block because otherwise the header would go full width and the tooltip appears like halfway across the screen. It looks a bit weird. But yeah, this now works, and this is in a dead view. So putting it all together, your application, like there's a simplified view of your application. You've got shared components. So you might have like a modal data table, typography with like H1 paragraphs and all that. Containers, buttons. So these are shared across your different views. Then you might have more context specific components. So like a blog post, form component. Then you got your post related sort of TED components, could be all stacked in one file. You have hooks, tooltip, dark mode, and then finally, yeah, you got your routes. So you have all your different routes, and then inside each route, you'll be utilizing basically all these things, right? So get requests, so it's a dead view about us, bunch of components. Maybe you could have a dead view compatible hook there. And you got your live, so you got some live components, live posts. So how do you structure your library? So here's an example of live beats. Live beats was created by Chris McCord. He sort of consolidates a lot of at least the functional components. It puts mostly in live helpers. So here you can see it's a bunch here. He also has some JS, like liveview.js related functions in there as well. So basically everything around sort of, yeah, UI is kind of put in live helpers. And it's probably because it's a small project. I'm guessing, yeah, on larger ones, it's probably better to split it up a bit because this would get quite long. But for small projects, it works well. So it's a good project. Like live beats is good to go and have a look around. Like in that live helpers sort of file I was referencing, you can see like here's a show drop down, and it chains together a couple of JS functions. So you got show, and I didn't mention it before, but you can give transitions in. This is using Tailwind CSS. So you get a nice transition, and also you can do, chained it together. You've also set attribute area expand. That's for like screen readers, so to help with accessibility. So yeah, it's a good project to raid to get ideas. So what about live components? So yeah, the live helpers was for more the dead components and the JS stuff, but live components, firstly, like, so here we have profile live, which is sitting in the live directory. And then he's got some live components that are used in that profile live. And so for that, he creates a new folder with the same name and then just puts them in there. So each one of these is a live component. So as a rule of thumb, you usually end, like in terms of the file name, you end it with underscore. It's kind of, yeah, confusing. That means it's a live component. So not a component, like a dead functional component. It's a live one. So if you want to get more ideas for structuring, like there's some bigger libraries out there as well. This is our Twitter account, Pedal Framework. So I did a tweet just showing these are 5 projects that I'd found on GitHub, which are basically Phoenix web applications that use live view. And so, yeah, you can see the ones here, maybe screenshot that and have a look because there's some good examples in there and lots of, yeah, good functionality to copy. So then let's have a look at pedal components. So what is that? So this is one of the parts of my pedal.build site. And it's basically 50 plus components. They're just functional components, and you can see none of them are live. They're all dead. So they can be used anywhere in live or dead. In terms of JavaScript, when you're in a dead view, you can use Alpine.js. And when you're in a live view, you can use Phoenix.js. So it's just an attribute you pass like on the component itself, like JS_lib. Then you can choose. The goal of this project is kind of just to get you started with components. So, instead of starting with a blank Phoenix web application where there's no styling, this just gets you up and running and you'll have nice looking components. You can build a decent looking web application just using pedal components. So if you don't like design, just use this. It's great for like internal tools as well. I do want to try and make this more customizable, but it's kind of hard because, you don't want to make it so customizable that you might as well just rewrite it yourself. Like it gets to a point where you can't customize it too much. And demo, I'll give a quick demo of it. So this is hosted on Fly, where you can just have a look at the components. It does support dark mode and light mode. So every component works in both. I prefer dark mode. Probably my favorite bit of it is the forms. So you can instantly just get all your forms looking nice out of the box, and also with errors as well. So I've made one for every single, Phoenix helper, basically. Drop downs, loading, breadcrumbs, avatars, pagination. And the pagination, yeah, it all works. If I go to the live version of it, so you can see there, pagination just works. Got an accordion. So if you want to get up and running with pedal components, ElixirCast has a good video on it, which just takes you through him converting like a basic CRUD page and using pedal components. So finally, we have Storybook. So this is a very new project, but it's getting worked on very actively by C. Blavia here. Probably can't read that, but yeah, if you look at Phoenix Digital / Phoenix Live Storybook, and if you look here on this side, it's if anyone who's used React will know that there's a popular library called Storybook, and that's sort of what this is copying. Basically, it's a place for you, like a library almost, for you to see all of your components in one place and play around with them and get the code for them and see their different properties and attributes. And yeah, I think this is a lower version, but he's made it like so you can actually change, pass in different attributes right here in the interface. So that's coming along nicely. So I recommend checking that out. And that's it. Thank you for watching.